Have you ever wondered how a high-end beauty service actually gets sold? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a New York City medical spa. We're deconstructing your entire marketing playbook, and we're using their own website as our guide. Let's dive in. So here's the big question we're tackling. In one of the most competitive cities on the planet, how does a med spa manage to sell not just a procedure, but the very promise of beauty? We're going to break down their strategy, piece by piece. Right out of the gate, they hit you with this huge, bold claim. #1 premier medical aesthetic spa in NYC. I mean, that's not just a statement, that's a declaration. It sets the bar incredibly high, and it kind of dares you to challenge them, right? It's like, okay, prove it. And as we're about to see, their whole marketing strategy is built to do exactly that. So how do they get you in the door? Well, their strategy kicks off with a really powerful hook. A classic marketing move, really. You lead with an offer that's just too good to pass up. And for this clinic, it's all about Botox. Now here's how they frame their pricing, which is pretty clever. They don't just say they're affordable. They position their per-unit model as being smarter and more efficient than what competitors do with per-area pricing. They're basically selling you on transparency and value. The pitch is, you only pay for exactly what you need, and they claim that'll save you at least 25%. But here's where it gets really interesting. We compared 2 different versions of their site and found something fascinating. Turns out, even an unbeatable deal can change. Their big bulk offer, the Botox Bank, it went up from $1,700 to $1,800. And that smaller entry-level deal, it jumped from $199 to $239. It's a perfect example of just how dynamic marketing is. Prices are always being tested, always being optimized. Of course, you know that low-price Botox deal isn't the whole story, right? It's just the beginning. Once they've got your attention and maybe your first appointment, the real goal is to broaden your horizons. This is the classic upsell, and it's where their strategy really starts to open up. And bam, here's the full menu. They lay out this huge range of other services. But take a closer look at the pricing. See that? Almost everything is listed as starting from a certain price. This gets you curious, but it doesn't lock them into a final number. The real goal here is to get you into a consultation where they can build a personalized and, probably more expensive treatment plan just for you. So they've hooked you with a deal, they've shown you all the possibilities, but in the beauty business, a good price is never enough. You absolutely need trust. And this clinic builds that trust by wrapping itself in glamour, prestige, and success. And it starts with the location. I mean, they're not just tucked away in some generic medical building. No, they make it a point to say they're in a landmark building by Gramercy Park. That detail is not an accident. It immediately signals luxury, history, high standards, all before you even step inside. It's a really powerful nonverbal cue. Okay, next up, they layer on the social proof, and they start with a face you might recognize from a huge TV show. When a Grammy winner like Jenna Ushkowitz says, "This is the place that keeps her looking my best," that creates this powerful sense of aspiration, It's instant credibility. It's basically a Hollywood-level endorsement. And they don't stop there. They pivot to a totally different world of beauty standards, the pageant circuit. You get a quote from a former Miss World America, and she links their services directly to a pageant glow and a flawless look. It just reinforces this idea that this is where the pros go to get perfection. And to really bring it home, they feature another pageant winner, this time Miss New York. This testimonial is great because it explicitly connects their treatments, especially Botox, their hook offer, to the feeling of confidence. See, they're not just selling you a look, they're selling you a feeling. Okay, so celebrity quotes are great, but what about regular people? To prove this isn't all just curated endorsements, they put a number on their reputation, 4.9 stars from over 300 reviews. That number grounds all the glamorous testimonials in a metric we can all understand, and it suggests that everyday clients are just as happy as the famous ones. All right, so the pitch is amazing, right? We've got a great deal, a ton of services, and a mountain of social proof. But you always have to read the fine print. So what happens when we look past the splashy headlines? Well, this is the reality check. This is super important. Right in their own disclaimer, they're crystal clear about what they are and what they're not. They state it plainly. We are not a dermatology center. We are not a plastic surgery clinic. This defines their specific niche. They are a medical spa focused on fillers and other safe augmentation means. It's smart because it manages your expectations and clarifies exactly where they fit into the huge, sprawling beauty industry. So after breaking all of this down, it really leaves you with one big question. This clinic has a masterful marketing strategy. It's built on a tempting deal, a smart upsell, and so many layers of trust and glamour. But it also makes you think, for any of us as consumers, in the really complex business of beauty, is the best deal always the best value? It's definitely something to think about.